Hello and welcome to the Esports Nightly. I'm Sam Carlson, your host. This is episode number 2, and it is October 1st, 2012. The Esports Nightly is a weekly news broadcast that recaps the major headlines and previews the coming week in esports. Every Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, I will go live to bring you everything you need to know to ensure your expertise in this field of gaming. Now, you may be wondering, this is not actually live. First of all, you're watching it on YouTube, so obviously it's not live, but I also did not go live this past Sunday, and the reason was because I was at a wedding. And yeah, we didn't get back till later on. I mean, I had a few hours before the live broadcast, but this show, surprisingly, takes a very long time to make, especially when you have to go through all the headlines and figure out what's important, what's not, and basically I couldn't get it all together. So I had to spend pretty much all day today getting this show and getting the esports bulletin all ready and stuff. So next weekend I don't have any plans, I don't think. So I will be going live that Sunday, which is, I believe, October 7th at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. But for this episode, it is just a YouTube non-live one. So, yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so let's jump right in because there was a ton of esports this past week. There's a ton of esports coming up this next week, and basically you should clear your schedule because this next few months are going to be insane. There are so many events going on, so many big announcements. I think like every organization is wants to finish up the 2012 season with a bang. So definitely keep an eye on these esports nightly episodes and the esports bulletins to keep track of everything because it's crazy. So let's start it off. First big, well, these are the headlines for September 24th through the 30th this past week. And here they are. The IGN Pro League announced a ridiculous $100,000 Shootmania tournament to be part of the IPL 5 event scheduled for November 29th through December 2nd in Las Vegas. It's part of their huge IPL 5 event, which will feature, I mean, it's primarily focused on their StarCraft II and League of Legends, but now they've added Shootmania, which is insane because I get a general consensus from reading on Reddit and other places that Shootmania just isn't clicking with people. You know, there's people that really like it, and then seems like there's a lot of people that don't really care about it. So, I don't know. It's also in beta still, so that's another little factor going in. Prior to the LAN finals, there will be an online open qualifier beginning today. It's probably over now because it's quite late when I'm recording this. But there was qualifiers beginning today, Monday, October 1st. 2 of them are for Europe and 4 for North America. Every qualifying team will earn an expense-paid trip to the grand finals and guaranteed prize money. Next big headline was the Collegiate Star League and international games media company Azubu partnering up to announce the Azubu Collegiate Champions, a massive tournament that not only has a $182,000 prize pool, but also spans North America, Europe, and Asia, offers scholarships to players, and brings League of Legends to the front of CSL, which, if you know much about CSL, they're primarily focused on StarCraft II. They've done League of Legends stuff in the past, but it's always been kind of like a smaller tournament, kind of off to the side. So now League of Legends is coming right to the front. So CSL is involved with a lot of college campuses. In fact, if you go to college or you live in a college town, you may have gone to, in the bigger cities at least, you may have gone to one of their StarCraft II events. I've been to 2, and they're awesome. A lot of good players, a lot of good teams. I mean, they're not professionals, but they're college students with great talent. So, yeah, it should be really cool. Congratulations to the CSL team for really pulling that together. Anything else about that? I think that's about it. So let's move on. Next big one was the SMM Grand National Dota Tournament being announced for December 13th through the 16th in Selangor, Malaysia, with just under a $40,000 prize pool, 18 of which goes to first place. So it's pretty hefty prize pools there, and it's just under 40,000 because it's not in U.S. currency. So it's it was like $37,820 or something crazy like that. This is part of the One Asia Cup 2012, which is also hosting a Counter-Strike Online and FIFA Online tournaments, but those 2 tournaments were much smaller. I think first place was 1,000 of their national currency, which I think is probably not $1,000 of US currency, so pretty small otherwise. So the main tournament, main staple is this SMM Grand National Dota tournament. And apparently, oh, I should mention, this is for the Warcraft 3 Dota, not Dota 2. And apparently this is kind of like an annual, prestigious kind of a tournament, so you might want to tune in and check it out if you are a Dota fan. Fragbite announced the Thor Open for Dota 2, an approximately $18,800 prize pool open tournament to take place December 8th through the 9th, with qualifiers running this October and November, allowing 8 teams to move forward to the LAN finals in Kista, Sweden. I just realized also I was supposed to switch slides so that you can see all this other great news. Totally forgot about that. But anyway, going back, again, this is another Swedish tournament, so the currency is, it's not a $20,000, it's $18,800 prize pool. Should be a pretty decent tournament. I think there was notable teams and stuff signing up, so go check that out. Next up, the Iron Squid Chapter 2 was announced, this time bringing 32 StarCraft II players head-to-head, 24 of which are invited, and 8 through 4 open qualifiers happening in Korea, Europe, and North America, plus a 4th qualifier that's open to players everywhere else in the world. So that's pretty cool. You usually see, it seems like they always have regional qualifiers, and then that's it. So this is kind of cool that they're opening it to everyone. Yeah. Just like last time, the grand finals will be played in Paris, France, and will feature a $27,000 prize pool. DreamHack announced the Dota 2 Corsair Vengeance Cup that will take place at DreamHack Winter this November 22nd through the 25th, featuring 16 teams and a $30,000 prize pool. There will also be a BYOC LAN qualifier for 2 teams and an online qualifier for 3 teams. Basically, those teams will, qualify for the actual main event. Additionally, S2 Games just wrapped up their summer tournament, the DreamHack Redemption Tournament, and has now announced the DreamHack Destination DreamHack Tournament that will award 3 teams expense-paid trips to DreamHack Winter, where they will be invited to participate in the DreamHack LAN Finals, which will feature a $60,000 prize pool. That's crazy. That seems really high for Heroes of New Earth, since there's not that many tournaments, and it's not right at the forefront of MOBA, but that's pretty cool. Alright, moving on to MLG. They had 2 major announcements this past week. The first being the addition of new tournaments to their Game Battles online tournament platform. They added a $9,000 5v5 ladder and a $1,000 1v1 ladder for Counter-Strike Global Offensive, a $5,000 ladder for Dota 2, and a $5,000 5v5 ladder and a $1,000 1v1 ladder for League of Legends. There's also going to be a series of weekly online tournaments via Game Battles that players can participate in. That is that's apparently separate from these ladders. So there's going to be these main ladder tournaments and then weekly small tournaments that everyone can participate in or something like that. They didn't really have too much information about that specific announcement there, so you'll have to just pay attention to Game Battles if you're a part of that. Yes. So that's what's coming out of MLG right now. The second big announcement from MLG then was the MLG vs Pro League Invitational that is kicking off this week. But unfortunately, they faced some major or decently sized problems already. The first started with Sasha Scarlett Hostin, whatever, forfeiting due to connectivity issues. She said she couldn't play on the Korean servers, which was a requirement, so she dropped. Then the entire Esports Federation lineup dropped, which was I think 8 invites. It was 8 teams or 8 players, and then Stefano also left. So they lost a lot of players right before this was about to take off. So that's not good. ESF, or the Esports Federation, also they had a representative from FXO come out and say that all 8 players dropping was due to conflicting schedules. They were also prioritizing other events. There wasn't enough prize pool to maybe make it really alluring. And then they also mentioned, this was kind of the controversial part maybe, but it was kind of taken out of context, I guess, was that the Esports Federation got 8 invites and Kespa got 24. So maybe they were feeling WTF, we've helped a lot, helped grow StarCraft II and eSports and blah, 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 and we only get 8 and they get 24, so I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it factored in, but I don't know if that was like the main reason. That was just what was kind of brought up. Okay, State of the Game still isn't back. JP released an update, a very, very short update, basically saying State of the Game's not back, stop bugging me about it, and I'm not sure when it's going to come back. I looked in the Team Liquid thread as well. My chair is squeaking again. It's always squeaking in every episode. But I looked on the Team Liquid thread as well, and the last edit of the main part was September 4th, and there were no new posts with any relevant content. So it looks like State of the Game is just still on hiatus, which is sucky because it was supposed to be back at the end of August, but I don't know. Apparently JP is not motivated to do it, or I don't know, because I think he's still like streaming all the time and producing other content. So I don't know if maybe other people's schedules are conflicting, or he's just doesn't want to do it, or I don't know. But anyway, so that's just a bit of an update there. Oh, and the reason I bring this up, just because people might think like, how can we bring up State of the Game and not other shows? I'm just bringing it up because State of the Game is extremely popular and influential, and it also brings on personalities like, Artosis and Liquid Tyler, or Liquid Noni, and formerly Day 9, and like these guys aren't on any other shows. So State of the Game was like a staple because of that, right? I mean, people watched it to hear those personalities, and now they don't have that. So it's pretty, to me, it's important just because of that. So all right, let's move on. SK Gaming announced 2 important partnerships. The first with the ever-expanding digibet.com, a recent addition to the esports world after partnering with SK Gaming's League of Legends player Carlos Ocelot Rodriguez Santiago, which if you don't have ad block, or you have ad block but you have our whitelist, which if you don't know what the whitelist is, go check it out. You can apply it to ad block and it'll unblock only esports websites. You can use ad block but still support all the esports websites and their ads and stuff. And if you are using it or just not using ad block, you can see the Ocelot Digibet ads that have been on multiple websites now. So that was the first thing. I mean, that kind of makes sense. SK Player got contracted with Digibet, and then they kind of just moved it right into the organization itself. So, and then they came out with a second partnership announcement, and that was with GData, a German security company that focuses on developing security suites with gamers in mind. Apparently, I'm not sure what that exactly means. If it's maybe optimized for like when you're playing a video game, it doesn't pop up like, what was that, zone alarm every time we went to LAN and stuff. My computer, like my old computer would like freeze up, and I'd be like, what's going on? I'd be like banging on the keyboard trying to figure it out, and then I'd like alt tab out, and it would like finally load, because zone alarm would be like using up so much CPU, and then it would be like popping up like, are you sure you want this game to use the internet? I'm like, oh yes, how many times have I told you? So anyway, hopefully it solves issues like that, because that, yeah, super annoying. Okay. Oh, additionally, SK went on to announce that their League of Legends team would be heading to GData's headquarters in Germany as part of a boot camp for the Season 2 World Championship that's coming up in November, right? I hope it's November. Okay, and last bit of thing I want to mention is a shout out to Complexity Academy StarCraft II player Sean, Arison, and Goff, I hope I'm saying his last name right, from the Midwest, who I met at I think both StarCraft II events I went, the StarCraft II Open and the Midwest Meltdown, both hosted by Copenhagen Gaming at the University of Minnesota. Both the events were awesome. In fact, in the video description, I've linked both the blog posts with like a description of the event and all that stuff. So go check it out if you haven't. Yeah, I met Sean, and he was a really cool guy. Talked to him for a bit. I think he's in both of the articles. I mentioned him. And now he was part of the Complexity Academy, and now he's been like accepted into the Complexity Gamma Gamer House, so he'll be heading to Houston, Texas to go and train with all the other StarCraft II gamers there, and who knows, maybe he'll go pro, and we'll see him at all the MLG events and everything. So congratulations, Sean. Yeah, have fun. Good luck. Okay, and that about wraps it up for the headlines for this past week. There was a bunch of other tournaments, like small ones that you can go check out. I guess I can mention them. well, actually, I should mention this one for sure. Seasons Beating's Ascension for the FGC was this past weekend, so go check that out if you haven't. That's a big event. But everything else was relatively small. There was stuff from FNATIC Plays, Raid Call, tournament platform thingy. There was the DreamHack Redemption Tournament. Star Ladder's been going on. Tech Labs wrapped up with a CS 1.6 tournament. There's Shootmania from ESL. Well, ESL's got all kinds of stuff going on. Yeah, so lots of stuff. Okay, so you can find all these headlines and more at spawnroom.com/news and on the esports bulletins that are uploaded Monday through Friday at youtube.com/spawnroom. So go check it out. Okay, now let's move on, switch and slide this time, to This Week in Esports, October 1st through the 7th. What's going on? There's a lot. And I think I'm just going to go through these relatively quick because they'll also be featured in the esports bulletins during the week. So if you're really interested, you can go check them out. The Premier League Season 3 for Dota 2 was announced a few days ago, revealing that the 10 invited players, caster information, and unfortunately a prize pool which shrank, which I feel like we don't see very often. Usually, prize pools maintain or they go up, especially for these smaller tournaments. I mean, you don't want to decrease the prize pool, but it went down from $10K to $6,000, which is pretty significant. Probably shouldn't read into it too much, but I don't know if it's... I read the comments underneath the article, and it sounds like the tournament isn't maybe not well respected or just not that popular. People said there weren't that many good teams and stuff, even though there were a lot of well-known organizations, but I don't know. Yeah, so that's going on. There's the Street Fighter 25th Anniversary Tournament series that's in Japan right now. The qualifiers have been going on, but there's another set of qualifiers this coming weekend, October 6th and 7th, with finals coming up October 20th. This is for 3 titles: Street Fighter Cross Tekken, Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition version 2012, and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike Online Edition. But remember, this is a pay-per-view event, so if you do want to watch even at all, you have to buy passes. So, yeah. Registration opened today for ESWC's Dota 2 East and West qualifiers, which will run this weekend, October 5th through the 7th, for every country in the world besides those with specific national qualifiers, which I found to be kind of odd. It was France, China, Algeria, and Kosovo. Not sure why they picked those 4 countries, but everywhere else, I guess, can sign up for this. There are 512 slots available in both the qualifiers, but only a single winner from each will move forward. Right, starting today, October 1st, Curse Gaming will be launching a King of the Hill series for Counter-Strike Global Offensive, League of Legends, Dota 2, World of Warcraft, World of Tanks, and DayZ. I'm not sure how DayZ fits into that, but apparently it does. The goal will... the winner of each King of the Hill for each game and stuff like that will win $100 and the right to keep their title for the following week. They'll have to, they'll have to defend it, whoever they're facing off against the next week. So there's that, and then there's a second King of the Hill announcement from Absolute Legends announcing another Absolute Arena Dota 2 King of the Hill match, which went on how long ago was that? Like two months ago they had 2 of them back to back, and then it just ended. It was because of the international too, but then now finally they're announcing the 3rd rendition, and it will be, I think it's 3rd, unless that was the first one was canceled and they moved it. I don't know, you'd have to go back, it's hard to remember. But anyway, Evil Geniuses is going up against Skans Elite, or however you say that new team. And it went live tonight. It's probably over by now, so you'll have to watch VODs, but each win wins you $100 more than the previous win. So the first time you win a King of the Hill in this format, you win 100, then you win 200, 300, 400, 500, and then after 5 straight wins, if someone does get that, they get kicked out and a new team comes in. So I think these King of the Hills are pretty cool. So if you haven't checked them out, definitely go do it. Pretty sweet idea, in my opinion. Let's see. It's Gosu announced an open qualifier for their upcoming Mini Madness Invitational taking place October 14th through the 15th. Registration remains open for 128 potential teams until the qualifiers begin this weekend, October 5th through the 7th. Join Dota announced the Dota 2 Staff Cup, which features 8 teams comprised of staff from different organizations, managers, and casters. It will be kicking off October 4th. Is that Thursday? Must be Thursday, yes. So it's kind of similar to the After Hours Gaming League that's hosted by Day 9, if you know what that is. But for Dota 2. Okay, Team Acer has partnered with Intel to bring you the Acer StarCraft Challenge hosted by TakeTV, an open StarCraft II tournament with, according to TakeTV, no size limit for signups. Alright, there will be 6 online qualifiers, the first beginning October 11th and running until November 15th through the 16th, when the offline qualifiers and grand final will take place. And let's see. Well, in 2 days after a long hiatus, Team Liquid has announced that their Team Liquid Attack web show is back with new hosts, new guests, and a new StarCraft II action to whet your appetite. The new hosts will be Root Cats and EG's in Control, and will feature their first guest will be Liquid Sheth, and that's on October 3rd at 3 p.m. Eastern. And Definitive Esports also announced web show related news. They're launching a new show called Heart of the Beta, which is a Heart of the Swarm discussion show featuring top StarCraft II players. I think this first episode had Demaga, QXC, 2 others. I don't remember who they were. Probably open it quick. Basically, it's a show about discussing Heart of the Swarm and how it fits with the competitive scene, and probably like a state of the game maybe, but by Definitive Esports. So if you don't know that organization, go check them out. They do a bunch of coverage. They got all kinds of shows and stuff like that. And the other 2 players were Drool and Todd from Root Gaming. Cool. And this week, there's also, there's, all the normal websites. There's EG Masters Cup. There's the EG Dota 2 League, ETF2L, 4PL, Alienware, Cybergamer, CSN, ESCA, ESL, Playhem, Zotac, all the normal tournament websites and stuff like that running stuff. So you can probably just go to Twitch TV and see what's streaming. And just like last episode, I'm going to throw out another shout out for eventpotion.com, a website I've been using a lot that has all the upcoming events and shows that you want to watch and stuff. So go check it out. Pretty sweet. I like it a lot. Okay, that wraps up this episode of the eSports Nightly News Broadcast. Again, sorry it wasn't streamed. Just got back too late. Couldn't really avoid it. We were at a wedding and stuff, so out of town. But next weekend should be live, 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. With another recap of the week and a preview of the upcoming week. And then remember that there's the esports bulletins that happened all week long, Monday through Friday, assuming I'm not busy with other stuff. But I try and stay on top of it as much as possible. Whew, it has been a crazy long day, so I'm going to just wrap this up. Thank you very much for watching. Consider subscribing, checking on Twitter. Yep. See you later.